What I, will the San Antonio Spurs make the play-in tournament next season? That is the question that is on my mind today. And I think it's a possibility because the Spurs have probably had one of the better off seasons around the entire NBA. So they picked up Chris Paul. They got Harrison Barnes. They drafted Stephon Castle with the fourth pick in the draft. And they have Victor Wembanyama. And I'm going to take the wild guess that he's probably already gotten a little bit better this offseason. So he's going to be even better than he was last year, which was already pretty good. Like, people thought like he might have made the All-Star team, if they had a little bit more wins and, in the win column, but it didn't happen. But I'm sure he's going to be an All-Star many times, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. He's not missing out on much yet. But Wemby is, I don't even think he's 20 yet. He might be 20, but he's young. That's the point. And he's going to now be playing with experienced players, namely Chris Paul. But Harrison Barnes has, playoff experience, extensive playoff experience, championship experience. So he's gonna be so much better this year. Like, I honestly think that he might average like 30. He might average 30. And for a second-year player to come in and average 30, that's like the alarm should be going off like, yeah, this dude is legit. And I think everybody already knew that he was legit, but it's going to now be like, okay, like this is probably the new face of the league. Everybody's been talking about who's the new face of the league. And everyone's like, oh, Jason Tatum, Anthony Edwards, LaMelo Ball. Like, no. Scratch all that. I think it's going to be Victor Wembanyama. I don't think it's going to be right this second. But by the time LeBron retires, which will probably be 2, maybe 3 years from now, Wemby's going to have been in the league for 4 or 5 years. So, or maybe 3 or 4. I don't know if I'm doing the math right, but Wemby's going to be so much better by the time LeBron retires that I honestly don't think that there's going to be a question. I think a lot of people discredit like taller guys in the league, though. Like, if a guy is like 7'3", dominating, I think people are always like trying to give it to the guards because they're like, oh, well, they have more skill and this, that, whatever. Wemby plays like a guard. Actually, scratch that. Wemby plays like just like a basketball player. He has no position at all. He will quite literally block a shot by grabbing it out of the air, dribble it up all the way up the court, make a crazy pass. Dude passes it back to Wemby. Wemby shoots a 3. Like, and then on the next possession, he's doing the same thing, but he's just taking it straight to the hole, going up the entire court, dribbling the ball, and like takes off from the free throw line. Like, the guy is an alien, a legit alien, and I don't know how you stop him. Like, the Spurs are going to be so good for so long. And Chris Paul, probably doesn't have that much left. I think he's 39. It's going to be his 20th year in the league, so he's not going to be doing a ton, right? But like, having him there while Stephon Castle kind of gets his bearings and like learning the league and all that is going to be so useful. I also don't know how much, time, Greg Popovich has left coaching the team. Like, he's been coaching for a long time. And obviously the Spurs will never get rid of Greg Popovich. But I think there will come a time where he's like, yeah, I should retire. But I honestly think he's going to try to make it till they get another championship with Wemby. Because I think Pop just wants to win. And that's how he wants to go out, is like a champion. So I think they could make the play-in. And I think if they make the play-in, they're it's going to be hard to keep them out of the playoffs. But like they're going to be better than Portland. They're definitely going to be better than Portland. The Grizzlies are going to be better next year, so I don't know if they beat out the Grizzlies, but they're probably going to be better than the Jazz. I honestly think they're going to be better than the Warriors. And they could honestly be better than the Kings too. So that's a handful of teams that they finished, beneath last year that they could usurp and, change things. The Kings, it'll be tough because they just add DeMar DeRozan. But if the Kings have injuries or anything like that, even if they don't, I still think the Spurs can play them. It's unlikely that they would, beat them in a 7-game series, but the Kings are really the only one on that list, and the Grizzlies as well, that I think they'd have trouble with. They're not going to have trouble with the Jazz or the Blazers because no one can guard Wemby. No one can guard him. So I don't know what you do. I really don't know what you do. And you can't hack a Shaq him. He's going to make all the free throws. So this guy just doesn't really have a lot of weaknesses, and it's going to be hard for them to just not win, in the next few years. And the Spurs are just such a good organization. They focus on player development so much, and they're really good at developing their players. That the sky is really, I don't even want to say the sky's the limit. The guy can go beyond the sky. That's how good I think he can be. And it's just going to be crazy. You guys don't know how mad I was when I was watching that draft lottery and the Spurs won. I wanted the Wizards to win so bad. And we didn't have the best odds that year. I think we were relatively far back. We weren't all the way at the back of the lottery, but we finished 8th, and then we wound up trading the 8th pick to the Pacers to get Bilal. So, but wow, I was heated. I was like, this was our one chance to get this generational talent, and bam, NBA just messed it up again for me. But, it's the luck of the draw, man. It's kind of just how it goes, and I've had it happen before, so it wasn't the first time. But yeah, I was hot. I was hot about that. But that's only because you could tell how good Victor Wembanyama was going to be, and he proved it. I thought it was going to take him longer to be this, 20 points per game scorer, getting all these boards and stuff, but he just has drive, that was the one thing that I think people, I wouldn't say people weren't certain about, but you don't really know if a player is driven until you see how they improve at the NBA level. And first of all, he had a 38-point game within the first 5 or 6 games of his career. That, first of all, that's crazy. And I think it was against the Suns or something. He did it against a good team, or at least a better team than the Spurs. And he just kept getting better from there. And it's going to be a wild next few years, seeing how his talent continues to grow and build, and he's just going to get so many more unique skills that I really don't know how you're going to stop this guy. He's going to be an MVP of the league. He's going to be, multiple NBA champion. He's just too good, and he has all the size in the world as well that you can't do anything. I think it's interesting that we just had this, 2024 NBA draft where, there's Zach Edey, who's 7'4", and big, and Donovan Clingan, 7'2", big. So you're gonna have guys that can, push him around in the paint, but Wemby can shoot threes. He can shoot mid ranges. He can pass the ball. He can do literally anything on the court. And so whoever you put on him, it's a mismatch. Anyone you put on him, it's a mismatch because they're either too small and he's just going to shoot over them, or they're going to be too slow and they're not going to be able to stop him. He's just going to beat them out on the perimeter. So I think the Spurs are going to make the play-in tournament. I think it's going to be an entertaining season of basketball, seeing him and Chris Paul play together, and seeing Stephon Castle develop as well. They have a good team. They have a really good team. So heard it here first. Spurs going to make some noise in the West.